Chapter 5 Design for Circular Economy in the Construction Sector. The construction sector presents specific challenges to design, but before we explore these challenges, we should highlight that the focus of this chapter is not the building design, the domain of architects and engineers, but rather the construction products design, which means the domain of designers and manufacturers. But it is impossible to think of circular construction products without relating to the building into which they are incorporated. When it comes to sustainable construction, products need to fulfill intrinsic properties, high quality, being of sustainable origin, non-harmful and consistent with biological and technological cycles, as well as relational properties, how the product relates to the design and use of the construction, anticipating multiple future user scenarios, such as dimensions, connections and lifespan. The circular value of products for the construction industry is, according to Geldermans and Jacobson, in the intersection of those properties. Buildings are a dynamic set of subsystems in which different circular economy strategies vary in applicability. For instance, the lease concept may be uninteresting for the whole building due to its very long lifespan, but may be feasible to elements with a shorter lifespan. Stewart Brand's layers of change help in working out those differences. The site is the geographical setting, the urban location, and the legally defined lot, and the lifespan is virtually unlimited. The structure is the foundation and the load-bearing elements, with a lifespan between 30 and 300 years. The skin is the exterior surfaces, typically with a lifespan of 20 years. The services are the working functions of a building like communications, electrical wiring, plumbing, etc., and moving parts like escalators and elevators. The typical lifespan is between 7 and 15 years. The space plan is the interior layout, with a lifespan from 3 to 30 years. And then stuff, all non-fixed furniture, which means things that are twitched around more frequently. In a circular construction sector, it is important to ensure that a building does not lose its utility. Buildings should no longer be designed to a fixed purpose, but rather be adaptable. They should also be suited for relocation and for deconstruction and reuse. For construction products, this means minimize materials use, which needs to be balanced with the energy efficiency of the building. As for waste prevention in the construction site, the most effective way to prevent it is to use existing buildings or reuse materials and elements and industry prefab construction elements. Intelligent dimensioning. This seems to be a contradiction with the previous point, but over-dimension may be an option if in the total lifespan of the building it proves beneficial in terms of material demand for adaptation. Construction products should be designed to facilitate change in the future. Modular design. An optimum life is assumed for parts of a building, and the goal is to replace building sections by modules. Off-site manufacturing is an effective and efficient way. Design for deconstruction. Designing deconstruction elements in such a way that they can be taken apart is also an interesting approach, a LEGO approach. Design for high-quality future reuse and recycling. In the context of circular economy, this means not only in one cycle, but with a longer time frame in mind, second, third, etc. lives. This requires good quality recycling or upcycling. designing services such as infrastructure sharing, co-housing, co-working, etc., and designing construction elements that allow the use of solar, wind, biomass, and other sources of renewable energy. Assignment. Observe the room you are in. It can be a classroom, an office room, your living room, etc. Define a different use for the room in 20 years' time. For instance, the room will be a dance room because the building's purpose will change into a performing arts center. Identify one element of the space plan and staff layers according to brand that will need to be adapted for the new purpose and discuss design options for this element. For further information and complete references, please consult the full text of the module.